Hey guys, my name is Shakarez, and today I'm bringing you another League of Legends informative video. And today we'll be discussing crowd control reduction, that is many times regarded as and called tenacity, which is a bit different. So we'll be talking about that too. And first things first, which are the sources of crowd control reduction and tenacity? They come from champion abilities, items, the tenacity items. That's where the name comes from, and a mastery point in the defensive tree. So let's take a look. Just a quick reminder before we start though, tenacity is not a stat, it's a named item effect. So it's a name you give, kind of like unique passives, but for items. Having the tenacity name on an item means that you cannot have another item of that type. Or, well, you can, but you won't benefit from the stat. So having two tenacity items will make absolutely no difference. And every tenacity item gives 35% crowd control reduction. So the three items that give tenacity are Zephyr, Spirit of the Ancient Golem, and the only remaining tenacity item from season 2, and every tank or bruiser's favorite boots, Mercury Treads. Now these three items are the only three items that give tenacity, that give the name item effect called tenacity, but you can get crowd control reduction by other means that I mentioned before. So you can get them by the mastery called Tenacious, that gives you up to 15% crowd control reduction, and then you can get it from champion abilities. So you can get crowd control reduction from Dr. Mundo's Burning Agony, that gives a reduced duration of crowd control while it's active by 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%, and 30% when it's rank 5. Garen's Courage reduces duration of CC by 30%. Irelia's passive, Ionian Fervor, reduces the duration of CC by 10, 25, or 40%, depending on how many champions she has near her. Singed Insanity Poison reduces the duration of CC by 10, 15, 20%, depending on rank. And Trundle's Contaminate reduces duration of CC by 20, 25, 30, 35, 40%, depending on rank. Also, Cleanse, the summoner spell, also reduces the duration of CC by 65% for 3 seconds. So after you activate it and you cancel a stun or a slow, you get reduced 65% reduced duration on crowd control for 3 seconds. The last thing I'd like to mention is that Relentless does not work this way, the mastery. Relentless diminishes the slow amount by 7.5 and 15%. It does not reduce the duration. It reduces the slow percentage. So let's say you get slowed by 40%. What this Relentless Mastery will do is that it will reduce the slow from 40% to 34%, because 6% is 15% of 40%. So if it will actually reduce your slow from 40 to 34%. And this might not seem a lot, but it might just be enough for you to escape, so it's actually a pretty good mastery. And you can also stack it multiplicatively with Boots of Swiftness that now give 25% extra resistance to slows. Moving on, let's discuss what crowd control effects CC reduction mitigates. And it mitigates blinds, charm, fears, including Hecarim's Flee, movement slows, polymorph, silences, snares, including entangle, roots, and immobilizes, stuns, and taunts. However, CC reduction is not all powerful. It does not mitigate other crowd control effects, such as knockups, knockbacks, suppression, grabs, and flings. So it won't remove them if you use Cleanse on them. It won't reduce them independently of how much CC reduction you have. So champions like Blitzcrank, Alistair, Cho'Gath, Skarner, Malzahar, Urgot, Warwick that have the suppression ultimates can really be useful and completely stop a champion for enough time. So CC reduction is perfectly counterable provided you have the resources. Now we've done the basics. CC stacks multiplicatively, so you can't just add 35% to 15% and get 50. The math is a bit more complicated than that, and now we'll take a look. So let's see a case scenario where Mundo has a 15% CC reduction from Tenacious, 35% CC reduction from its Tenacity item, and 30% CC reduction from Burning Agony, and he is stunned for 2 seconds. Now we'll apply the sources of CC reduction and see how much CC he can actually reduce. So if he only has the Tenacious Mastery, he has 15% CC reduction. If he activates his Burning Agony, he gets 40.5 CC reduction, and if he builds a Tenacity item on top of these two things, he gets 61.3 to 5% CC reduction, which is a lot. In terms of 2 seconds, let's transform these percentages into numbers that are easier to understand. So if Mundo only has the Tenacious Mastery, he gets 15% CC reduction, so the stun lasts for 1.7 seconds. If he activates his Burning Agony on top of the Tenacious Mastery, it will go down to 1.19 seconds. And if he builds a Tenacity item like Zephyr or Mercury Threads, the stun will last for 0.77 seconds. So as you can see, stacking CC reduction is pretty good, but the more you stack it, the less effective it becomes, because they are percentages and it stacks exponentially. So it's not like additively, where you could just add more and more tenacity and hope it becomes just equally effective. It's not like that. The more you stack it, the less you get from it. Now we're going to take a look at some video replays where I, as Mundo, get slowed and stunned by an Ash with different CC reduction values. And I even added Cleanse, because if you stack all the free situations I mentioned before, with Cleanse you actually get 87.7 CC reduction, which means the stun would nearly be instant. So I'll put the 4 situations side by side so you guys can compare it. So that went probably too fast for anyone to notice. Since it's only a 1 second stun. So now I'm running the same clips 3 times slower, so you guys can see the differences. So now running these same clips at a third of the speed, you can notice that the first clip that ends first is the fourth with the most CC reduction, with a 0.14 second slow. The second with the third, in this case, with a 0.40 slow. The third with a 0.60 slow, and the first one that only has 15 CC reduction with a 0.85 slow. Now here Tenacity doesn't make such a difference because it's only a 1 second slow. But what about when the CC is actually longer, like Ash's arrow hitting you for 3.5 seconds? So in this last case, since we had a 3.5 second stun, the differences were much more noticeable. You could see that in the last clip with a cleanse, which is a bit of an exaggeration. You'd get 0.4 second stun instead of a 3.5 seconds, so it's a big amount, a big chunk that's actually removed. And the difference between 15 crowd control reduction and 40% crowd control reduction is almost a whole second. So crowd control is a big deal when dealing with a longer duration of crowd control, like Ash's stun, to give a prime example, since it's a 3.5 second stun. So that's all from me for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Next video will be on armor penetration, so stay tuned and subscribe to the LolVots channel.